It's the first race of the day for the 8th day of August 2020. We're at Pittsburgh International Raceway, commonly referred to as PittRace, in Wampum, Pennsylvania. It's the MotoAmerica Championship for 2020, and you see the green grass, the rolling hills, the uphills, the downhills, and the best riders from around the country, over the world for that matter. You see a South African on the far left, Cameron Peterson. I'm Robbie Floyd, joined by Roger Lee Hayden, a race winner here on the big bikes in the Honda Superbike class here a few years back. And good to have you in the booth as we get ready for our first race of the day. Perfect racing conditions. I know it looked like it was hot with that Murray effect and, you know, kind of the heat signature on the track, but it's not. It's a perfect day for racing.
No, you're right. It's an absolutely perfect day for racing. A little bit of a breeze, you know, low 80s, and the track temperature right now should be, you know, the best, you know, that's been all week. All the, you know, the track temperatures should be good enough for the softer tires, so it should be a good race.
Here's your championship standings as we head into this fifth stop for the Stock 1000s. Corey Alexander off to back-to-back wins. 11-point advantage over Cam Peterson, Alex Dumas, who's progressing every single time he hits the track. And, man, he threw down a fast practice time earlier today. Only 18 points behind Stefano Mesa, last year's runner-up. Still not too far behind in fourth.
No, a lot of those guys are pretty close, and now PJ's not here. It doesn't look like he's going to do super stock for the rest of the year. So we could expect these, you know, those top four guys to battle it out all season for the title. Taking a look at the starting lineup on row number one, you see Corey Alexander, Travis Wyman, and Cam Peterson. The reason being, I think the Stock 1000s in a practice earlier, Alex Dumas had the fastest time, but it was just a practice, not a qualifying practice. Yeah, this morning Alex Dumas went faster, but it was just a practice, so he doesn't get to move up the grid any. But also Corey Alexander, the you know, who's leading the points, is dealing with some muscle issue. He pulled something in his shoulder blade, causing his arm to lock up this morning. So we have to watch that for this race because this track's really tough. Yeah, physically, this is not the one you want to be at a detriment, is it? You talked about how really there's not much time to rest, to take that breath, but to loosen up. You have to really flow with the bike here, and you're talking about 1,000 machinery. This is the heaviest bike you're going to see out here all day. Yeah, that's the biggest bike, the heaviest, and also the ones with the most horsepower. So it makes it a lot harder to ride through this infield section, like turn 7 to turn 14 is a lot of work, changing directions on these big bikes. So these guys, it's not a track you want to come to and have a shoulder issue. So we're going to have to watch that with Corey, and hopefully he can tough it out. See a little bit of the clag down that front straightaway. Another thing you notice from our camera shot is the front straightaway where they line up on the grid is actually downhill. And you see testing the brakes is the Altus Motorsport Suzuki of Cam Peterson. That's been the issue. We know he's fast, but we still don't know if those brakes can last the entire race distance because he had to manage them the past few times he's been out there. Yeah, he's had a couple issues, but, you know, this weekend he looks pretty good. Doesn't look like they're having as many problems, so hopefully they got the Altus team got that all squared away because we want to see him. You know, last weekend he was up front for the first 5 laps, had those issues, and then faded back. So hopefully this race everything works to the end and he doesn't have to slow down. Let's take a look. It's a 12-lap adventure for these guys. Ready to go, the Stock 1000s. Good start for Cam Peterson, and also Stefano Mesa got a good start on the second row. This will be the slowest they head up that hill and up and over that hill. We call it a wheelie hill, and normally that's where we're seeing a lot of the high-speed wobbles. The BMW in second, Alexander. Looks like he's dropped back to third. There's Alex Dumas in fourth, kind of like we expected. Yeah, it looks like is that Mesa or who's that in Mesa's third? In third, and it's Alex Dumas, and Corey's slipped down to fifth already. Okay. Not the start that he wanted from the front row, that's for sure. Yeah, a little bit loose from Mesa back there in third. Yeah, I thought that was Alexander, but you can tell by the riding style that Stefano Mesa and Alex Dumas, maybe a little bit taller than Mesa, but both of them probably weigh very similar. Yeah, and Alexander just lost another spot. Michael Gilbert got by him going into turn 7, so maybe that arm is bothering him a lot more than we think. A lot of dust up from Alex Dumas there. I don't know if did he ride off track or that. I don't think that was dragging a knee in that portion. We talk about this place being so hard to pass, and he's trying to. He did it. It's a good pass. Trying to force the issue because he sees Cam Peterson up there starting to eke away, and he doesn't want to let that happen.
Alex Dumas has been so impressive. He starts off the season and he just builds as every race goes along. 9 points. That was 7. Then he gets 13 points. That's 4.
Look at that pass.
I mean, he's just getting better, and he works with Jason Pridmore, and he had last year, and he won that Twins Cup. But, you know, this is a kid who he could have went out there and set the world on fire at the first race. I don't think that's how he's built. He didn't do that in Twins Cup. He built into the year, and nobody could touch him.
Every year, he's just one of those guys that just gets stronger as the year goes on. And what a good first lap for a young guy like him. We talked about this place, this track being so hard to pass. Oh, Stefano's in hot.
He come in hot on that inside, didn't he?
But this place been hard to pass. He's 4th. He, you know, makes a couple good passes the first lap, and now he's going to set sail for Cam Peterson.
Pass over there on the left.
He got a good run out of turn 15 and set himself up on the inside for the chicane and has the line.
A little bit of a surprise for Wyman, too. I mean, you make a pass in this man-made little chicane section, you've done something. And now you see Stefano Mesa moving up into second, getting by Dumas. I think when he saw Dumas make those passes, he said, okay, I got to do it. I can't have this young kid do this to me.
I wonder if maybe Alex might have made a mistake in the 3.
Well, it looked like, I mean, we saw the aggressiveness of Stefano Mesa also trying to go to that inside. Almost looked like he tried to turn it up. This is a guy who's been having a little bit of an issue with the tires. Of course, everybody racing on Dunlop tires, and Stefano Mesa typically runs Pirellis. And I know he's had, it's not the day-to-day tire that he's used to. He's got to get used to a new setup. And there goes Dumas again, trying to get by on the inside, not this time. That was a smart move by backing off.
Stefano Mesa had a trouble in that corner last year with Michael Gilbert. It looked like almost was going to happen again, but you're right. Stefano Mesa on the off weekend runs a different brand of tires and collects money at the club races, and it's really hard to switch back and forth. Look at Alex making another hit the curve.
It.
Oh,
he clipped
that was a save.
And that means Mesa's probably going to go underneath him there, but I mean, he still stayed on the throttle. Mesa trying to make something out of nothing. He's going to scrub off a lot of speed, and Wyman's going to close in now.
And look how much Cam Peterson's been able to pull away now that these guys are battling like this.
How many times in racing do you say, hey, if they keep fighting each other, it's going to let that person pull away? That's exactly what's happening here. You don't even see Cam Peterson in the picture. The thing is, with Cam Peterson, he's told you, he's told me, about 5 laps, the brakes aren't as strong as they used to be. As we take a look at the replay, what happens here? Dumas gets by on the inside, but then
he's going through turn 15. He gets a good run. This is on the left. Gets a good run and puts himself up on the inside where he's ahead of Stefano in the preferred line for the chicane, and he doesn't have a choice but to give it to Alex Dumas. And Alex got in there so fast because he was on the inside, and when he went left, he clipped that inside curve with his rear tire and barely saved it.
I want to pay off what I was talking about with Cam Peterson. He said about 5 laps. Sometimes he told me even 3, the brakes start going away. This isn't a 3 or 5 lap race, Roger. If you may have issues, it's better to ride smoother, maybe not be so hard as early on the brakes.
Yeah, and this track too, also, the braking isn't as hard as, say, Road Atlanta has that really hard after the back straightaway into turn 2.
Dang! Motocross bikes here.
He's got to be careful having dirt on the left side of his tire there.
Yeah, he had to make sure it's cleaned off, didn't he? Great call. You saw how white the left side of his tire was. He tries really laying it down. He's going down, huh?
For sure. And Alex Dumas, you can see that he's pushing. He's got a purple second sector. I mean, he pulled back a half a second on Cam.
And he's still turning when he hits that. I mean, luckily, it looked like it was raised a little bit, almost like a berm. And Michael Gilbert just behind, going to get some of that going by. We look at Cam Peterson with an advantage coming across the stripe. He has 1.8 seconds on Alex Dumas.
The lap before that was 2.3, so Alex Dumas took a half second out of that one just on that one lap.
I think we may be having problems. We have a red flag, it looks like, up at the top of our screen, and there's a crash somewhere. The leg comes out. So we have a downed rider. We'll try and get that for you. And we've completed enough laps now. It probably, well, the starting procedure is different than the red flags we've seen. So it looks like the bike and rider off of the track at a portion we can't quite get to. We'll try and get identification. There it is. And that's unfortunate that we had to do that. Looks like the downtown Ned Brown is into that air fence, and it's doing what it's supposed to do, trying to slow down. And I know they do the the Dunlop two-seater rides to try and, you know, all the donations and the money to do those those riders go to building that air fence for the Road Racing World Action Fund. And there's Ned and unstrapping those gloves. That never a good time, and they put those in critical places too. I mean, that it's usually not a slow turn where you're seeing those air fences.
No, those air fences is huge for us, and I mean, people don't realize how much we appreciate the road racing world. John and Chris Orge does a great job raising money for this, and you know, it saves a lot of people from some big injuries, and also for us riders, it gives us more confidence knowing if something does happen, we have. You know, we're not going to slide into our guardrail or our tire wad. The air fence is there to save us, and it's a lot softer impact, and it's made to kind of, it's almost like a big pillow when you go in. It just kind of swallows you up, and, you know, I've been into a couple of them before, so I'm thankful to have them. And I'll tell you who didn't want to see that red flag was Cam Peterson.
Yeah.
1.8 second lead that he just got evaporated.
But you saw, I mean, Dumas did close in some, but well, what I was talking about, I don't know if it would be a full restart or not. They completed 3 laps. That's usually that point by when they do or they don't. And on that same note, I mean, they may be, you know, a tire, you know, change. Didn't you say that they had to make the designation? I mean, that can't happen. Fuel, what do you do there? I mean, have you done enough laps that you can maybe add fuel? They do allow them to go into the pit lane. Corey Alexander actually worked his way back up to third. It shows that last time around. What I was thinking about was, Roger, they usually, if they do a restart from the way they come across stripe, they go back to the last completed lap.
Yeah, they go back to the last completed lap, and that's how they'll reset the grid. They're also going to take a couple of laps off the race as well when they restart it. And it might be a complete restart the way you qualified, but a couple less laps. So therefore, you wouldn't need to add gas. And you can't. You can do some stuff to the bike, but you can't change tires and stuff like that. If you do change tires, you have to start in the back of the grid.
I didn't know if it was a Dunlop thing, if you've done so many laps, if they would say we wanted it on there, but not the case. Is not what we wanted to see. A red flag here in the stock 1000. Cam Peterson, Alex Dumas, Corey Alexander, Stefano Mason, Travis Wyman, the top 5. Ashton H., you saw him on the Honda there. 22 was in 7th place. Let's send it down to Hannah Lopa Trackside.
Dumas here. Alex, how are you going to use this restart to your advantage? Because Cam was pulling quite a gap on you.
Yeah, I got a really bad start. My first laps, I was able to pass a couple of guys, but I did a mistake in turn 3, and Stefano just went right past me. So I passed him again in the chicane, but then Cameron was like already a couple of seconds ahead. I was catching him a little bit at the end, but I know if I get a good start the second time, I can stick up with Cameron and maybe take the win.
All right, we'll see if that happens for you, Alex. Thank you so much.
We've had word that they're going to have to repair the air fence in that critical area, and I agree. And I remember you were joking with me because I was thinking that Alex finished 3rd at the last race at Atlanta, but he did finish 2nd, and he's progressed from 7-4 to 3-2. He's due for a 1, and I said, even though Corey Alexander won at Atlanta back-to-back, I said Dumas would probably be my favorite because he just keeps building and he's fast. There's Jason Pridmore, who does the Fox Sports commentary, color commentator, and you know he's talking to his rider. I promise you, at the pace he's going right now, he's saying you can win this race.
And I'm sure he's giving him advice about telling him where he made those passes and how good those passes were. They were aggressive, but they weren't too aggressive. And sometimes a rider during a red flag, you need to just calm them down and get them to remain calm, and they'll get that air fence.
And there's what they're doing is repairing that air fence, and the AMA and FIM officials making sure it is back to as safe as possible like we had it prior. And the thing with Jason Pridmore, we talked to him at one of our breaks earlier today, and who works with several riders, but he was saying don't go out there and just go full tilt boogie right off the bat. Kind of build yourself up as the day goes along, and he did that, and Alex Dumas had the absolute fastest time here in that final practice. But when it comes to race time, Cam Peterson was hauling out their best time of, well, actually, he was in the #1 spot but didn't have the fastest time. The question is, can he keep those brakes going for all 12 laps? It looks like Hannah's caught up with Cam. Let's find out.
Cam, you were leading the race up until the red flag come out. Robbie wants to know if you'll be able to kind of hold on to those brakes for the duration of the race and be able to replicate the start you got before the red flag.
Yeah, you know, I got off to a killer start. I think Alex is probably going to be my biggest issue this weekend. The kid's riding good. I got to give it up to him. But, yeah, kind of like you said, you know, obviously our problems are pretty well documented at this point in time. So I'm done talking about it. But it's definitely about management right now. You know, I don't think I can't push as hard as I really want to. It's just about managing the race and being there at the end, you know. So yeah, just go try to replicate that start and see if I can pull that little bit of a gap the first few laps and then just manage it from there. But yeah, these guys are busting their butts and I can't thank them enough. So yeah, let's go get a win for them.
Thanks, Cam.
I think he can do it, Raj. I mean, I think he's the fastest rider that's out there, and put the equipment underneath him. And he just said he's trying to gap him. He's trying to get that advantage and see if he can hold on. You know, covering a lot of different racing formats through the years, guys talk about sometimes you slow down, you go faster. Maybe if he's not as aggressive on there, he actually can go quicker than he would have otherwise.
Especially at a track like this with the infield section. If you start to rush the turn 7 and how much it, you know, we talk about that section, you have to connect the dots. If you mess up the first corner, you can mess up that whole section. So a lot of these guys, like Cam said, he doesn't want to talk about it no more. He just wants to race and not worry about what's going on, and that's what you have to do as a rider, just put it behind you. And whatever problems you have, it's too late. The race is here, and it's time to manage that. And this morning, Alex was fast for a couple laps, but we know that Cam Peterson's did 6 or 7 fast laps. So we'll see who can do it now for the 8-lap race. I think, is it 8 or 9 laps? Well,
it was 12 originally, and look at it, to keep clicking it off. I just saw it change 5 laps to go.
Yeah, it's 8. It's going to be 8.
You think it's going to be 8? Yeah, there you go. Look at you, man. You're good. Yeah, they start changing on our time and the scoring, and that's where we figured out. But, yeah, it looks like it's going to be 8 laps to go. And, you know, I hate bringing up that issue, the mechanical side of things, but until something changes, you still have to look for that. We will be under a quick restart category, and it will be the original grid. So they'll start the same way that they qualified, but with less laps, as you'd mentioned. The fuel burn. There's Stefano Mesa, who was passed and then did some passing a little bit later. Look for Mesa. He was the runner-up in Stock 1000 Andrew Lee last year for the championship. Here's the man who's leading the championship, Corey Alexander with Henalopa.
All right, Corey, you're running third until the red flag came out. How was the start of the race for you?
Yeah, we made a big change this morning. It didn't work out for us, so we kind of reverted back a little bit. So it took me a few laps to get up to speed, but my guys have my Hudson Valley Motorcycles CX-10 working really well. So yeah, I'm excited for the restart. I think we have some things figured out, and it should be a good rest of the race.
Coming off back-to-back race wins, how does that amplify your confidence in this round?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely trying to keep the ball rolling, but it's another race, and we got to put our head down and kind of focus on what's right in front of us. Last weekend was last weekend, and I'm just focused on trying to get up there with Cam and having a good race with him.
What do you think the most important thing is that you need to focus on the start of this race and maybe the first 2-3 turns?
Just really the jump off the line. I've been struggling with starts a little bit, so got to get a good jump and try to get up there, like I said, so I don't get shuffled too far back. I know I can run with Cam if we get up with him, but just a matter of that start. So yeah.
We'll see how it goes. Thank you so much, Corey Alexander.
You know, I talked about we didn't want Cam Peterson did not want to see the red flag.
Right.
I'll tell you somebody who did want to see it was Corey Alexander, because he was shuffled back to 5th or 6th, and now they restarted, and he gets a start from the front row.
It's tough when you're Alexander coming off, you know, his 4 races this year, a 3rd, a 6th, a 1st, and a 1st. I mean, he's trying to get that MotoAmerica turkey. I talked about 3 in a row. But you do need a good start here. Unlike, say, MotoAmerica, where the draft's always a big factor, and you have those long straightaways, you can work around it. Here, you need a good start. It's tight. It's tougher to pass. But we are going to start a little bit different here. The quick start procedure, Hannah, can you explain it a little better?
With our lead grid marshal, Scotty Paget, and he told me that it's going to be original grid, so the original qualifying starting grid that we saw earlier at the very beginning of this race, and it will be shortened to 8 laps.
Okay, gotcha. 8 laps, so we, as you mentioned, and the quick start procedure, how's it different than, say, the full stuff? They only get one time around and then they're ready to go?
Yeah, they'll come around and then there'll be somebody when they say quick start, it means they're not going to bring like the tire warmers and all that. You'll go out, you'll come around. One of your mechanics will get out on the grid, wherever your spot is. You'll come up, you'll stop. The mechanics will run off, and then you'll get your warm-up lap. And next time you come around, it'll be ready to start the race.
Looks like 3 minutes till we're getting ready to go there. There's our lone Honda in the field, and well documented it. And we keep talking about how Ashton Yates was hopefully going to ride that new Honda power plant, the 1000, but it just has not made it to the United States. You know, several of these guys are going to be racing a little bit later in the Superbike Cup or with the Honda Superbikes. So it's a great opportunity in both classes. This one to help you there to help you, you know, with the raw speed on what you can do here and maybe your money-paying class. A lot of contingency on the line for these guys, and some of them literally that's how they're making ends meet. So it's one thing to have that air fence, but you got to latch it to the tire wall, and typically tire walls it's all you need for a car. It absorbs enough shock, but you, as a racer, do not want to be going into the tires. Don't move for a motorcycle pilot.
No, definitely you don't want to slide into those tire walls. And you know, most tracks we go to, the first thing that everybody looks for is where's the air fence need to be, because obviously it's number one for safety. And there's some tracks that we wouldn't go to if it wasn't from air fence.
Corey Heflin on the 21, 17th in championship points in stock 1000. They're dragging off that old one again. Like to thank Road Racing World. Fun putting this together. We see that the wave in some of those camera shots, it looks like it's hot, but it wasn't. It's nothing like it was at Atlanta. Hannah, I know you're down trackside. I know in our booth it's nice and cool, but how does it feel down trackside today?
Oh, yeah, rub it in. I'm sure you're enjoying the air conditioning. Yeah, like you said, it's nowhere near as humid and hot as Atlanta. This morning we saw track temperature about 89 degrees Fahrenheit. I took a temperature just now. We're at about 100. So conditions are warming up about 11 degrees here. So we'll see how that affects tire wear throughout the rest of this race.
See, I thought 89. I mean, that seemed kind of cool to me. 100, I mean, if you had an average temp of where you would want some heat in the track. And 100 doesn't seem that bad, Roger, at least to me.
No, you definitely want some heat in the track, especially for the guys who are trying to make the softer tires work, but it's not too hot where I think grip will suffer. So these guys have great, you know, track conditions, especially coming from last weekend when it was just so hot and humid and everybody was struggling. And not only the riders were struggling, but all the crews and stuff being out there in that heat, humidity all weekend. So I think everybody's pretty happy to come here and have a little cooler temperature.
I'm Robbie Floyd with Roger Hayden. Hannah Lopa down there trackside as the red flag came out, and for downtown Ned Brown, the 298, and he was up and made his way off the track. They had to repair the air fence as we get ready with an 8-lap race now for the stock 1000. Cam Peterson had a good jump off the line. Corey Alexander, the series points leader in the 23 Kawasaki, did not. He dropped back to about 5th. You had Stefano Mesa, Travis Wyman, Alex Dumas, all battling for position. Dumas was the man on the move. Actually had the fastest lap. What did he turn? A 1:43.82. That's quicker than anybody. I know that's actually the qualifying time. He turned a 1:43 though.
1:43.712.
Was that his from the practice earlier?
Nope, that's what he just did.
A moment ago.
Just did that in the race.
I was going to say, because even though Cam Peterson was in front, it was Alex Dumas as the fans looking down on the hillside. Alex Dumas, second in position, was actually the fastest rider on the track. There's the hill people. And everybody trying to social distance as much as possible. You see all the campers. A good turnout here. I like the people here. They're very friendly. They have the opportunity to get autographs and see the riders down there in the paddock.
Yeah, there is quite a few people, and it's cool to see. Every race we've been to this year, we've had really good crowds at Road America, the second race where people were allowed to come. Then Road Atlanta last week, we had a great crowd, and then again this weekend. So it's really cool to see all these people coming here to watch MotoAmerica, and there's so much stuff for people to do here besides just watch the race. They have a kids zone, and they have freestyle motocross, and just a bunch of other stuff to do besides just watch the racing.
And if you don't, I mean, yeah, I'll say if you don't like the big bikes, everybody likes the big bikes, but also we have another opportunity to see the Mini Cup presented by Motul. The Ovales are going to be here. I believe it's like 5:30. Right around then, they're going to be firing things up. But after all of our big bike races, the little guys will be over there in 3 different race classes over there at the kart track. So, I mean, that's another race you can get with the same ticket here to watch MotoAmerica events. And it's our second of 3 stops, and I'm looking forward to seeing the little guys this afternoon.
So I actually had the chance to work with a couple of them on Wednesday and had a great time. Those kids are so fast on those bikes. I can't really believe it. And it's also exciting for, you know, for U.S. racing to start getting kids riding at a younger age.
And I say little guys, but there's little girls out there as well that are plenty fast, way faster than I've ever been. And I know you give me a hard time about my racing ability, but the one lady you worked with, she's pretty. She was getting on it. I saw you talking to a young lady at MotoAmerica as well, as they are lining up for the Stock 1000 restart. Yeah, you need that feeder system. This is a guy, a great example, the Canadian Alex Dumas. He's been a feeder system, through the feeder system of the big bikes. Went from Locomali Juniors, won a championship, went to the Twins Cup, won a championship. Now it's his 3rd effort in 3 years in the Stock 1000, and he's 3rd in that championship, looking for his first victory today. And I think a lot of eyes are on him to get that first victory today, and he even said it himself, he thinks he can do it.
For sure, I think he can do it too. And he actually skipped one step. He didn't go to the 600 before the 1000 like a lot of guys do, but he's not having any problems adjusting to the 1000. And every single race, he just gets better. Every practice, he just gets a little faster. And I think if he gets a good start, he can definitely run with Cam Peterson. So he has to be a little disappointed about the red flag because now he has to do all that work all over again.
600 would be a natural progression moving up as far as the CCs and the displacement, but I think being around some of these guys that have been around the block for quite a long time, I don't think you see quite the aggressiveness in the Stock 1000 as you see in the Super Sport in the 600. Is having some issues out there on the restart is Jeff Perk on the 31. He's going to get that thing going. That's the one good thing about having a downhill starting area. I mean, throw that bad boy into neutral and see how much speed you can get going into turn 1. Try and jump start it.
Yeah, I think he did get back going, so good for him, man. You don't ever want to see a guy stall on the grid and put all that work and money into coming to a race and have a little issue on the starting line and not make the race.
Couple different options for these guys on the rear tire. They could go for the soft or the medium on the front end. They have the super soft, extra soft, soft, and medium options. That's where you got to kind of keep that bike planted. They want to give you a few more choices. It is a twisty, turny place. What is it, 2.78, I think, to be exact. So basically 2 3/4 miles. We saw Road Atlanta about 2.5 miles in length. Road America is big, but still over 2.5 miles for back-to-back races, back-to-back race weekends. But the way this place is built is a little bit different. I think you had a little bit more resting time at Road Atlanta, a couple of straightaways where you could kind of stretch the fingers out and not have to be turning. But as Roger Hayden has mentioned on several occasions this weekend, even going that front straightaway, it is not a straightaway. There's a bend to it.
And when you watch the camera angle from the Superbike guys, when they take that last corner, it's really fast, and their bikes are kind of, gets a little upset and kind of wiggling. And by the time they get it, all straightened up, it's time to start braking for turn 1. So this is one of those tracks that, here's the last corner that you don't get it much of a break. So we'll see what happens on this restart. I'm sure Cam's going to try to do what he did on the first one, and Corey Alexander's going to need to not get such a bad start so he can hang on to Cam. They cannot let him get that far ahead because he's too fast to spot him 2 seconds, especially now when the race is only 8 laps.
Too fast and too smart. I mean, he's not a new guy to this bike or this size bike, coming from the Honda Superbike class just last year on the Omega team, and had so many mechanical issues there. Let's see how Cam Peterson can do. Farthest on the left, you see him, number 45, Aldis Motorsports, the white bike, the BMW. A great jump by Corey Alexander this time. He said he's bad with starts. This is a good one.
Alex Dumas got a good start too. Look at it. Oh.
Dumas tries going inside of Corey Alexander, and Dumas does the move, number 16 up into third. That's from a second row start.
Kind of got into Corey a little bit.
Travis Wyman with a better start this time. The BMW, number 10 in second.
I mean, Alex is just trying to force the issue a little bit. He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't want Cam to get that gap, because then he has to ride extra hard to try to and take more chances to close it up.
So let's see. We saw some aggressiveness. A third bike in your picture, the 16 Alex Dumas, the M4 X-Star Suzuki. He got aggressive early on in the first couple of laps because he got a not so great start. Travis Wyman starts out better this time. I think he knows the mistake he made that first time, and he's not one to repeat that.
No, and Travis Wyman's been fast all weekend. I mean, right out of the gate, he's been in the top 3 pretty much the whole time. You can see where Alex is trying to set him up in this corner where he's made a couple passes before, but Travis is actually hanging on a lot more this start than the first one.
Definitely managing it better. You see Dumas almost trying to undercut every little section. There he is.
This is where he's been a lot faster, and he sets himself up on the inside of the chicane, which
not that time.
I mean, that's a tight pass to do that.
That's a tough ask, isn't it? I mean, you did it twice, and the second time almost cost him. But you see Cam Peterson's in the picture. He wasn't really in the picture even in the first lap the last time around before that red flag. But yeah, if Dumas is going to get by Wyman, he needs to do so quick, because you see a little separation.
Good drive out of the last corner out of Alex.
That Suzuki's fast, but we know the BMW's fast in stock trim. And Wyman driving around that outside, that BMW is quick. It's got a new motor in it this week, and he looks good. See Alexander still back there in fourth. Mesa and Michael Gilbert in the 55. There goes Mesa and Gilbert. Stefano Mesa out of North Carolina, the runner-up last year in the Stock 1000 Championship. He's currently in fourth, chasing this year's points leader. Come over that crest, under power.
Alex made the pass somewhere.
Yep, just before. I'm sure we'll take a look back if we got that. There's the BMW of Travis Wyman back into third. We'll try and get you that pass. If we have it, you see Corey Alexander actually closing in on a little bit on Wyman. He's the points leader after back-to-back victories. He has 11-point advantage over Cam Peterson. Well, the difference right now between first and third, 9 points. So it shrinks in a hurry at that rate. And Alexander is into third.
Alex is closed right up on Cam. So really what he needs to do is get up to Cam, maybe take a lap just following, and kind of get his breath, because he's worked pretty hard to catch up, and now he's a lot closer than he was the first start, and he still has 6 laps left to go.
Both Suzukis, and actually working together. It seems like the Suzuki of Cam Peterson, I think a lot of those parts come from the M4 X-Star team. I'm pretty certain that they needed some electronic help from them back at MotoAmerica, and until they said to plug it in here and add this, they didn't have that electronic advantage.
No, they didn't. And also looks like Cam pulled away a little bit there in turn 1, and Corey Alexander's sneaking back into the picture too.
We talk about the pain out of Corey Alexander and his elbow. We know Travis Wyman had a fractured elbow just a few weeks ago. Adrenaline's the best thing. I mean, it's the drug that the body makes to try and fight off that pain. And in race time, you can be hurt but not really feel it. And
plus, those guys that are injured, they're going to be glad that the race is only 8 laps, because you don't have to. You can hang on from 8 laps even if there's a lot of pain. So Corey will be glad that this wreck, because this is a track you do not want to ride with a sore shoulder.
Undercut just a little bit. He's able to go, and again, that's another function of trying to ride smooth and keep those winding turns. But you don't want to open the door too much for Alex Dumas. He's going to take it one of these times.
No, that was Alex is really fast through that middle section. He closes right up on those guys, even the guys behind him.
Right here, underneath on the binders, and switch back and forth in blue. He's got to give up.
Now I don't think he has to give up another spot though.
No, he has to give up that position he gained. And that was good. You see him take the handoff, saying, take it back. Now he's got to go do it again. So he's trying to go faster, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong one. That was wrong that time, Roger.
That corner is just so hard to pass. He's just a little, he's a young rider and just a little bit impatient. Here we go. He gets a run out of turn 15. See how far up the inside of the track he is? I mean, he just makes it impossible to make that corner.
If I'm Alex Dumas and if I miss it and I get back to spot, well, I didn't really lose much. So, I mean, he's trying to. If he clears Cam a little earlier, you would see him probably close over to the left, but he just didn't clear him quick enough. Look at the times. 1:43.91, the best time for Peterson. A 1:43.58 for Alex Dumas. His quickest time is 4/10 faster than Cam's.
And he's faster than he was I mean, that's a race record for this place.
He just keeps clicking them off. 1, 2, 3, and 4, though, close. We're halfway through. They basically get the cross flags this time around. 5 laps to go.
This is the part of the track where Alex Dumas can close right up. Alex definitely has the pace. I'm sure if he feels like if he can get in the lead, that maybe he can check out.
But getting in the lead's a different story. You're talking about a veteran from South Africa.
This is where he starts his run, right out of that left, or that right, through that left. Just hard to pass, and every person, you know, that you can see that time he let up a little bit going in there. But
he actually was slower than Peterson there because I'm thinking he was making sure he at least did it right that time. The officials won't like it if you cut the track. You keep doing it, and I mean, even though you give it up position, they're not going to be too keen on that.
Oh, no. I mean, he knows he can't do it, you know, every other lap.
Corey Alexander in 3rd spot. As it stands right now, he'd lose 9. He would still be the points leader. He had 11-point advantage. And I'm talking about the 23 that's back there in 3rd place, that green Kawasaki. Corey Alexander's still hanging on. These two guys up in front battle too much. Corey Alexander's going to be there ready to pounce and win 3 in a row. You're right, man. Look at him closing in right there. Good push to that outside. Green by Cam Peterson that last time, a 44.32.
This next section of the track is where Alex is just really, really fast. His bike's working so well through there. See how he changes directions a little better?
A little smoother. And look at all the speed that Dumas had coming out of that turn.
I think Alex might set him up for a turn set. No, he's a little far back. We kind of enter that corner wider, then pass from the inside here.
He's able to undercut there just a little bit, but you saw trying to get that power laid down there. The front end gets a little light. Elevation changes, you see it. Our cameras are level, but look at that. They're going downhill pretty hard. And then before you know it, you're going back hard uphill.
Alex is just, you know, he's a kind of a smaller guy, and you really have to wrestle that bike through that chicane, and I think he's just kind of struggling a little bit. And also, that chicane's is really hard to get through when you're behind somebody because you can't see, you know, where the curbs are on the ground. But that lap, he didn't give up as much as he did the previous lap, and, you know, Corey was faster than both of them that lap, so
Corey Alexander's still in that picture, but you're right, and you've said it throughout the day and watching practices, big wheelie.
Did you see the shake out of Cam?
And that's a place we see that a lot of the big bikes have a lot of horsepower going up there. And look at Alex Dumas with a run now. Alex Dumas wants to straight line that chicane session. He might be able to do it a little better by himself, but following someone is so hard. Look at another good run here. There's that run. He's on the inside. He's got position. Now let's see if underneath is Peterson. He's going to try and go underneath. He's going to get the drive and switch around. Look at him trying to go back and forth, but Dumas does it. He can't get the wheel. He couldn't get that power down there, and Cam's trying to take advantage. Altus Motorsports second behind the M4 Suzuki of Alex Dumas, who's now out in front with less than 3 laps to go. Dumas has been patient. He was a little impatient, tried passing in a chicane earlier, had to give up position after cutting the track. Look at Corey Alexander back there in the third. 1, 2, and 3. That last time across the stripe, 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, and this is the part where Cam was a little faster.
But now he's actually falling for the first time.
Closes that right up.
Yeah, he's got that dialed, doesn't he? Can anybody draft on this front straightaway? Do you have enough space? Do you have enough time? The M4 X-Star Suzuki was able to put the power to the track, though. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen there. Dumas was able to get the power down a little bit better than Peterson. 2 laps to go in stock 1000. Corey Alexander still back there watching him. Half a second separated first and third. After that first, before the restart, we didn't think Corey Alexander would really be in this picture. He is big time in the picture.
Yeah, he's definitely there now, and you can tell with 2 laps to go, Corey's kind of slipped back a little bit, and Cam is pushing really hard, not wanting to let Alex Dumas get away.
He wants to win. He does not want to give Alex Dumas his first stock 1000 victory. He's not going to give it to him, but he wants to take it away. Let's take a look at what happened to the left. There's a replay of the pass.
He just got a good run up over turn 6 and put himself in a good position. And Alex is so strong through this section, and now he's kind of on the right line, his normal line, because the previous lap when he made that pass, he was a little offline through that section because he started, in turn 7 a little farther up the inside than normal.
Give Alex Dumas clean air, and he's showing you how fast he can go. The fastest lap was back on lap number 2, a 1:43.58. Peterson a 1:43.91. That's about 4/10 difference. Peterson still not backing down, but Dumas stretching it little by little.
And Cam's fast through here. This is where he's faster than Alex.
Dumas did a little better that time, didn't he?
Yeah.
But still, he's closing in. The one thing is, watch through here. Dumas is able to get the power down really well down this right-hand turn in the front straightaway.
Yeah, he gets a really good run. Look at that, gets the power down. His bike doesn't really seems a little more stable than Cam's.
That's much more closer this time. As we have the final lap, and Cam runs it in. There's the skilled veteran.
Run wide.
He's still on the throttle. We've seen so many people run off there. Cam Peterson does not. Kind of lifts the front wheel over that hill. Dumas, does he have any place to retaliate? Alex Dumas, number 16, the 18-year-old, looking for his first stock 1000 victory. Just in front of him, the South African Cameron Peterson on the Altus Motorsport Suzuki. Suzuki's 1 and 2. The Kawasaki of Corey Alexander, the points leader, back in third. We're on the last lap of the stock 1000, race number 1, the first race of the day. Here's Dumas with a good run down the downhill. A little wiggle. No way he can go to the inside there.
And this is where Alex is really fast. We've seen him set up a couple passes through here, getting into turn 12, so we'll see if he can do it again with Cam. It'll be a tight pass.
He tries undercutting and then stretches it out on exit. He's going underneath there. He's going to get more run.
Now this next corner.
He's too far. He's too far behind this time.
And Cam's a smart guy. He blocked that.
Changing positions, moving around in that saddle. Look at it, Cam Peterson. He knows Dumas on the inside of him. He goes for the nose. No problem there. Oh, a little wiggle for Cam.
Oh.
Dumas right here.
He'll try.
Dumas right here cannot make it happen. Can both of them make the turn? Both of them make the chicane. Peterson's been quicker there. He has 2 more turns. 2 hard rights and a straightaway in front of him. 2 GSXR 1000s. Peterson has a straight line. He is not going to catch him.
What a race.
Cam Peterson down the front straightaway. Dumas not giving up, and Cam Peterson survives the attack by Alex Dumas and takes another victory. His second of the year after winning at MotoAmerica, and Cam Peterson, the elation, the jubilation, and I'm here to tell you, Alex Dumas is in this championship. Wouldn't you say, Raj?
Alex is here, and he's, God, what a good ride by him to kind of fall back, catch up. He ran off the track, was a little, was patient catching back up.
And I don't want to count out Corey Alexander's. You see the races for position back here. This is to make it into the top 10. Corey Alexander, a hell of a run by him. If he was hurt, it didn't look like it.
Yeah, he kept them honest. Those two would have got together. He would have been there to clean it up.
Absolutely. Taking that checkered flag. Manuel Segura on the 20. Rounding out that top 10 ahead of Corey Heflin, Jeff Perk, Jeffrey Simmons, in 13th. Cam Peterson, top speed 163 miles an hour, flying down that straightaway. You know, even though Alex Dumas finished second, that almost has to feel like a victory because he did not give him anything. But you can see he's pounding that tank. He knows that that's one that he may have let slipped away. And Cam Peterson pulls up next to him. Knuckle bump, and congratulations. That was a hell of a race. I mean, that was a great race. And Alex Dumas might only be 18, but he gave it to him. Corey Alexander, fist bump for him, and he's still going to hold on to that points lead. He loses 9, so now that advantage for him will be down to 2, I believe. He had an 11-point advantage over Cam Peterson coming into this race. And I believe Roger Hayden's going to go down and talk to those 3. Michael Gilbert's going to finish 4th. Again, everything I say is officially unofficial. Stefano Mesa rounding out the top 5. Ashton Yates in 6th place. Yates tying his best finish of the year, tying that race from Road Atlanta last week on race number 2. And there's your results. Hunter Dunham and Chris Crossland in the 9th spot. So that smile by Cam Peterson in that picture, it's going to get a lot bigger. And the question was, can that bike and can those brakes last? The answer is an emphatic yes. And now I can quit talking about them. South African, Canadian, and American on the 3 steps of the podium. And the Hill people, they got to see a good one. Our first race of the day. It doesn't get much better than that. Stick with us throughout the day. The Stock 1000s kick it off at 2:10 local time. We will see the Super Sport race number 1 and then the Hono Superbike and the Liqui Junior Cup later on today. The sights and sounds of Parc Fermé. Again, Cam Peterson and the Altus Motorsports crew getting hugs. And Melissa Parrish's mechanic.
Cam! I told you,
Chris Ulrich talking with Alex Dumas. He's got something special right there, I promise you. Alex Dumas has just proven that he has what it takes to be up in that top 3 and then the championship hunt. He's going to get 20 points for back-to-back second-place finishes, but a lot of love between those two because Dumas didn't do anything crazy to take them both out of the picture. And a lot of times you don't see that from 18-year-olds. They'll do something that's not necessarily the right thing to do to try and get that first victory, and it's a long season. Let's send it down to Hannah Lopa, who's at our victory podium.
All right, second win of the season for Cameron Peterson. Take us through that last lap battle with Alex Dumas.
Yeah, first things first, you know, I got to give it up to this kid. He's first year on the big bike, and man, he's gonna give us a hard time for the rest of the season. But yeah, you know, like I said after the red flag, it was just about managing my race. And yeah, once he came by me, I kind of knew I just need to sit there and be there coming into the last lap. And I knew if I got in front of him, I'd be able to kind of dictate. You know, I saved a little bit of brakes there for the last lap for that battle. And, man, I can't.
Time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Round 4 of 9 for 2020. MotoAmerica Superbikes at Pittsburgh in Wampum, Pennsylvania. It's Pittsburgh International Race Complex, also known as PittRace. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time AMA champion